Hello, welcome to Kevin's Covers. This is your channel for solo acoustic arrangements that you can do while you're busking or have solo gigs or just want to impress somebody while you're sitting around. Today what we're going to do is we're going to do Robert Johnson's Sweet Home Chicago. Last week I did Crossroads by Robert Johnson, and evidently a whole bunch of people liked it and saw it, so I thought I would continue. This was on my list of stuff to get around to. Of course, Sweet Home Chicago, probably Robert Johnson's best known tune. I'm doing it not exactly like Robert Johnson did it. For that matter, I'm doing an E, he did an F, and obviously I'm just not playing it the same way. It's kind of updated. It's not the Blues Brothers version either, or any other versions that you might know. I have retained some of his original lyrics and so on. But anyway, this song is kind of difficult to do. I don't think it's as difficult as Crossroads, at least my version of Crossroads, but it could be a little challenging, particularly in the instrumental parts. So I'm going to call this difficult. Let's take a look at the performance, then we'll come back and I'll show you how I've arranged it.
Hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Hey, baby, don't you wanna go to the land of California and that sweet home Chicago? Hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Hey, baby, don't you wanna go to the land of California and that sweet home Chicago? 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4. You open up and then you show me the door. I said, hey, baby, don't you wanna go to the land of California and that sweet home Chicago? Hey, baby, don't you wanna go? Hey, baby, don't you wanna go to the land of California and that sweet home Chicago? 8 and 2 is 10, 10 and 2 is 12. You bring me to heaven, then you drag me through hell. I said, hey, baby, don't you wanna go to the land of California and that sweet home Chicago?
Well, that was my arrangement of Sweet Home Chicago. So let's take a look at the details of it. First of all, this is a very standard 12-bar blues in E, kind of the prototypical 12-bar blues in E. Again, he did it in F. I assume his guitar was tuned up. I sincerely doubt he actually did it in F. I doubt he played a capo, but hey, who knows? Anyway, so the fundamental riff is all about this bass line, right? So what we're doing here is we're hitting the E and the B and coming up to that C sharp. Very basic kind of blues thing. The really distinctive thing about Sweet Home Chicago is what he does on the A. Instead of just going, he comes up and hits that D. And that's what really signals that this is Sweet Home Chicago as opposed to any other blues in E. Now, personally, I like to, Robert Johnson didn't do this, but I like to hammer on that G sharp, so, or on the E when I come back. So we put down this typical chorus. It looks like this. At least that's the way I've arranged it. And in fact, coming off of the A, sometimes I'll do a little bit of a pull-off on this F sharp, so it looks like this. So I kind of like that moving back into the E. Don't do it all the time, but sometimes I do. I'd point out that also I'm really muffling a lot, playing around, making it chunky with the heel of my right hand. So I'm not just going. It doesn't sound very bluesy. It's all kind of ringing all out. Whereas if you go, then we have something that sounds way bluesier. Now, of course, again, Robert Johnson played this a whole lot higher. He would do a lot of things on the higher strings. I personally like it when it's kind of chunky and low. That's honestly pretty much it in terms of getting the standard song down. But let's take a look at some of the other stuff I'm doing here. So then you have what I suppose you could call the verses, you know, when he's going 1 and 1 is 2, all that. And all I'm doing, all he does is just stays on the E. All that is just E, right? 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, blah, blah, blah. So the way I'm doing that is I'm putting little fills in between, right? 1 and 1 is 2. So for instance, doing that little pull off of the A and even a C sharp, ending up on the E. And all over this, playing around with this open E minor pentatonic down here, right? So meaning that I'm going to do a lot of stuff around all of that, right? So 1 and 1 is 2, 2 and 2 is 4, right? Then I really like to bring out at the end where you can really kind of wail out on the vocals that E7 over here. So for instance, 2 and 2 is 4, 6 and 2 is 8. Come on, baby, but you come home late, right? I think that works out well. Now on the 2 instrumental bits, at least on the recording I just did, if I remember, because I do them a little differently every time. First of all, again, playing around with 2 different concepts here. One is, again, that open E minor pentatonic, right? Or you have that nice double E over here. And coming down to the D with the E. You can do that a lot. It's a first concept, just playing around on that E minor pentatonic down there. And then secondly, getting down these kinds of things, right? So we have the E. Whenever you're playing with an open E7 or even an E major, you can play around with this kind of thing, right? Okay, so we have, quite simply, we're starting from this E7 shape, and we're playing the 5th string 2nd fret and the 1st string, 3rd string 1st fret, right? So that's just an open E7, and then we're going to slide up here. So now we have this C sharp, 5th string 4th fret, and the A over here, 3rd string 2nd fret, and then come up over here, back into this E7 shape, right, with the 5th string 5th fret and the 3rd string 4th fret. And that's actually giving us kind of the bass line. Right? Then when we get to the A, we do the same thing. We're coming off this A7 over here, sliding up over here, right? So here we have the 4th string 4th fret and the 2nd string 3rd fret. And then back up into this original A7 shape, so 4th string 5th fret and the 2nd string 5th fret, and then coming back. So we right? And you can do a lot around that. So very often I'll do a solo that comes off of that, right? Like to come back to that. Now remember the A. So we see, playing off of that, that minor pentatonic, right? Then turn around. Now we also have these two little blues descents, right? Robert Johnson tended to play it high, and the very first time around, I'll play it kind of the way he did. So what is that? We're just constantly keeping this shape. So we're starting off in the 4th fret with the 3rd string 4th fret and 1st string 4th fret, coming down. And then we're going to end up over here, which is just a little kind of E7 triad. It's not really that, but anyway, with the 1st string open and the 3rd string in the 1st fret. So we put that together, and we climb into the B7. We'll do the B7 down here. If we're doing it lower, then we're going to do this. So what is that? We're keeping that E7 shape the whole way around, that open E7 shape. So 5th string 5th fret, 3rd string 4th fret, and we're just going to slide that down 1 fret every time. And again, climb into the B7. Other times, I'll use this B7 over here. If I do that, I typically use this higher little blues descent. And then the other solos, honestly, typically, well, actually, the one I did in the performance, one of those little instrumental bits, as you saw, I'm taking off of the verse, which is what off of the chorus, which is what I just showed you, and otherwise, I'm working off of kind of verse, 2 and 2 is 4, 4 and 2 is 6. Well, I'll just start on this E. It's a little bit easier here because now we're just working off of that E7, right? So in that case, I often do something like this. Then come back into A. Now, that bears a little looking at in more detail, right? So here. That's really working off of that nice doubled E. So we have the 2nd string and the 5th fret, hitting both of those strings, and pulling off on the D. And then that slide down from that B into the A, coming back and hitting that E. Very, very simple. Again, minor pentatonic. Then there's this little climb up that I really like in these little open E instrumental bits. So we're hammering that G onto the 6th string, and then hammering that climb up, which is exactly the same way that we come up to the B7 normally. Right. And then we had this little bit over here, which actually is over B. So what is that? Again, I'm just hitting, just as we had that doubled E over here, now we have a doubled B, because we have the B on the 3rd string, 4th fret, and we have the open B. And just pulling those off, pulling off that D and that E. Then coming back into the normal A, right? So those are really the two instrumental bits. If you put that all together, then you get my arrangement of Sweet Home Chicago. Feel free, of course, to do anything that you like with any of this and to rearrange and so on. I'd also point out that in terms of the lyrics, yeah, I sing Back to the Land of California in the Sweet Home Chicago, because that's what Robert Johnson sang. And I find it just really cool. I mean, the Blues Brothers changed it. Most people change it into like That Same Old Place or something like that. Because it makes sense, because it makes no sense, of course, to say that we're going to the land of California in the Sweet Home Chicago. Nobody really knows why Robert Johnson did that. It's possible that he thought that Chicago was in California. Robert Johnson, I don't know if he ever left his home state, and he might have had a very approximate idea of geography, or it's possible that he was just referring to something else. I really don't know. But I kind of like it. So at the very, very end, I'll sing The Same Old Place, but otherwise I stay with the land of California. Feel free to sing whatever you want. Likewise, for the little verses, the adding numbers up and saying, I basically make that up just about every time. I think it's kind of exciting as you're singing it to say, okay, well, what am I going to do here? And I kind of think that's kind of a tribute to Robert Johnson and the great old bluesmen, because that's pretty much the way they performed, from what I gather. They made up a lot of the lyrics as they were going. Listen to Lightnin' Hopkins or some of these guys, and it's clear that they're kind of improvising on the lyrics. So I think it's kind of cool to do that. But of course, feel free to sing it any way you like. I obviously have always loved Sweet Home Chicago. It's one of the first blues that I ever learned to play, and I hope that you love it too, and that this has been useful for you. As always, please, 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 if you like this video, then click like. If you would like to see more of these videos, then subscribe. I come out with them. I try to come out with them once a week. I have a feeling that as time goes by, that's going to be more difficult, and it might be a little bit less regular, but I'm going to try to keep that up. And please talk about it, leave comments, like, subscribe, come back, and in the meantime, rock on.